Before Meghan Markle became a duchess, before her face was splashed across tabloids and royal headlines, there was one man who knew her long before the crown: Trevor Engelson. He wasn't just her short-lived husband in Hollywood, he was the keeper of pieces of her past that never made it into glossy magazines or polished biographies. And according to whispers from those in his circle, Trevor once quietly confirmed what insiders had long suspected. Meghan's past wasn't simply curated, it was carefully concealed. The version of her story he glimpsed wasn't about red carpets or auditions. It was about a missing year, a sealed file, and a chapter she fought fiercely to erase. And if those whispers hold any truth, the secret she buried isn't just a forgotten detail, it's an entire bloodline silenced in shadows. Behind closed doors, a rumor circulates in hushed tones, spoken so cautiously that people hesitate before uttering it aloud. Sources connected to the Giuliano family claim that Meghan Markle may already be a grandmother, not in some distant future, but right now. The allegation is as shocking as it is simple. A child, supposedly born from Meghan's secret teenage marriage in the mid-1990 seconds, has recently become a parent. If true, it wouldn't just disrupt Meghan's carefully crafted timeline, it would shatter it completely. For years, Meghan's life has been portrayed as a neat sequence: high school, college, acting, and then the fairy tale royal wedding. But within that carefully arranged timeline lies a void, a dark space that refuses to fit. A single year that seems to vanish without explanation. And it is inside that missing year where the whispers take root, the chapter that allegedly brought a daughter into the world, erased from Meghan's story, now resurfacing at the heart of these explosive claims. To follow the trail, we leave behind the glamour of Hollywood and the grandeur of palaces and land instead in Las Vegas. Not the neon strips splashed across postcards, but a modest chapel tucked just off the main drag. Meghan was 18, then unknown, unseen, unchased by cameras. There were no paparazzi outside, no reporters circling for a headline. Only two family witnesses, a groom named Joe Giuliano and Meghan Markle standing quietly at the altar. According to sources close to both families, they didn't just visit that chapel, they left bound by law. A marriage certificate was signed. No photos, no confetti, only ink on paper tying two teenagers together. Yet, that marriage didn't unravel with a divorce. It was wiped away entirely through an annulment, as if it had never happened at all. The legal mechanism that wipes a marriage from existence is called an annulment. Unlike a divorce, it doesn't end a union, it declares it never happened at all. In Meghan's case, that filing was sealed almost immediately. No public record, no trace in county archives. On paper, the marriage vanished. But sealed files are never meaningless. They're locked away precisely because there's something inside worth protecting. And according to sources, that's where the true beginnings of Meghan Markle's hidden past may lie. In Nevada, this kind of erasure is far from unusual. The state is known not only for its quick, impulsive weddings, but also for how effortlessly those same vows can disappear. A couple can walk into a chapel, pay in cash, sign a license, and be married in less than 10 minutes. And if regret sets in, here, annulments move faster than anywhere else in America. If both parties agree, paperwork can be filed within days. Once approved, the court doesn't just end the marriage, it erases it completely, leaving behind nothing but a sealed shadow of what once was. And when an attorney steps in, the erasure can go even further. Not just annulled, but sealed permanently. In those cases, the file itself vanishes. The certificate, the petition, the entire timeline locked away, beyond reach. It doesn't appear redacted, it doesn't leave a blank entry, it simply ceases to exist. Court clerks know this process well. Attorneys use it often for high-profile clients. It raises no alarms because it's designed to avoid them. For someone like Meghan Markle, an annulment wasn't just a legal reset, it was the perfect disappearing act. A way to walk out of Las Vegas with no stain, no trace, no shadow on her record. From there, she could step back into her life as if that weekend had never happened. But paper trails aren't the only thing that linger. The weekend may have been erased from the archives, but its consequences were only just beginning. Because after that quiet moment in Las Vegas, Meghan's timeline does something unusual suddenly. It goes completely dark. Officially, the explanation is neat and simple. Meghan took a gap year before enrolling at Northwestern University. She was young, curious, eager to see the world before college. At least, that's the version of the story we've all been told. But here's the problem: no one has ever found proof. No student exchange documents, no verified travel records, not even a single photograph of Meghan abroad during that year. The supposed journey vanishes into thin air. According to sources tied to the Giuliano family, the truth may be very different. Meghan didn't travel the world at all. She allegedly stayed in Chicago, living quietly under the Giuliano roof. No Hollywood connections, no Los Angeles friends, passing through just a year of complete silence. And it is inside that silence where the story takes its sharpest, most dramatic turn. By mid-1995, the missing year comes fully into focus. Whispers from those close to the Giuliano household suggest that Meghan gave birth during this time. Not in a hospital under her own name, not surrounded by family or friends, but quietly, privately, and deliberately off the record. There were no public filings, no birth certificate that pointed back to her. Instead, sources insist a private arrangement was struck. The Giuliano family would raise the child, a little girl, as their own. The child was given a new identity, folded quietly into the Giuliano household, while Meghan stepped back, never to claim her again. A relative would later sum it up in one unforgettable line: "She was Meghan's before she was ours." That single sentence carries the weight of the entire secret. This wasn't a rumor whispered by outsiders. It was a chapter deliberately written and then just as deliberately erased. By late 1995, Meghan reemerges. It is as though she has been reborn. She arrives at Northwestern University, enrolling in the theater program, building new friendships, and carefully shaping the life that would one day propel her to fame. But something else happens at the very same moment. Her ties to the Giuliano family reportedly end. Not gradually, not over time, they stop instantly. No visits, no phone calls, no gentle check-ins. It is a clean and final break. From that point forward, Meghan's past is sealed in silence. The Las Vegas marriage is never spoken of. The annulment is treated as though it never existed, and the alleged daughter disappears from the narrative entirely, as if she had never drawn a breath in Meghan's shadow. This wasn't simply a young woman stepping into adulthood. It was a calculated reset, the deliberate birth of a new public identity. Meghan was no longer the teenager with a sealed file in Nevada and a secret child in Chicago. She was now the aspiring actress, the polished college student, and eventually the woman who would step onto the world stage and into royal history. And for years, one detail stood unchallenged: Meghan Markle's official birth year, printed in biographies and databases everywhere, 1981. On the surface, Meghan's official birth year, 1981, fits neatly into the story. High school, Northwestern, Hollywood, and then the royal wedding. A clean timeline, without gaps. But when you look closer, the numbers begin to unravel. Archived photos from her years at Northwestern show Meghan surrounded by classmates who are now in their mid-50 seconds. Alumni records reveal that many of those same students graduated high school in the late 1980 seconds, placing them nearly a decade older than Meghan's supposed age. And these aren't isolated errors. Again and again, alternative birth years surface in old alumni programs and event listings. 1977, even 1975. If those dates are closer to the truth, it changes everything. It means Meghan wasn't the fresh-faced teenager her public narrative describes. It means she was older. And suddenly, the timeline of a secret Las Vegas marriage and a 1995 birth snaps into place with chilling precision. And if you believe official records are beyond manipulation, consider this. Even Meghan's own son, Archie, offers an example. When his birth certificate was first filed in the UK, it listed his mother's full legal name, Rachel Meghan Markle, alongside her royal title, Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex. But just weeks later, that very document was quietly altered. Meghan's first and middle names disappeared. The revised certificate listed her only by title, Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex. Palace officials dismissed it as a clerical correction, nothing more. Yet insiders close to the royal household admitted they had never seen such a change for any other royal mother. And that raises the question: if a live royal birth certificate can be rewritten under the world's spotlight, what about older documents? High school records, travel logs, even a sealed file in a Las Vegas courthouse. If the palace can curate history in plain sight, imagine how much easier it would have been to smooth over the past long before Meghan Markle became famous. And if Meghan truly did give birth in 1995, that daughter would now be 29 or 30 years old. This is where the whispers begin to circle back. Neighbors in Chicago recall seeing a young girl at Giuliano family gatherings. She was never introduced, never explained, simply there. One relative described her in a haunting phrase: "She was the child no one spoke about, but everyone knew existed. She's part of the bloodline, but nobody talks about her anymore." That's how one relative allegedly described her. And now, word has surfaced that this same woman, grown, independent, and long hidden from view, has quietly welcomed a child of her own. No announcements, no fanfare. Just a moment behind closed doors that reignited an old whisper. If true, the implication is staggering. Meghan Markle is not only a mother, she is already a grandmother. This is where the story reaches its most haunting turn. The royal title, the Hollywood career, the polished image, all of it has advanced under one unspoken condition: that this buried chapter never comes to light. But secrets don't disappear. They wait. They linger in sealed files inside a Las Vegas courthouse. They surface in class photos that don't align with official timelines. They echo in relatives' half-whispered memories. And now, if the whispers are to be believed, a daughter raised in silence has given life to another generation, a child bound by blood but erased from the public record. Which means Meghan Markle is not just the Duchess of Sussex, she is a grandmother. The real question is, what happens when that sealed chapter finally opens? What happens when a daughter, raised under another name, discovers the truth of who her mother really is? That moment wouldn't just rewrite Meghan's past, it would threaten her future. Because once the hidden bloodline stands before her, no royal title, no palace agreement, no carefully polished biography can keep the truth buried. And that is the truth. Trevor Engelson once quietly confirmed, Meghan Markle's story is not the one the world has been told. It is the story that was buried. A story that, sooner or later, always finds its way back.